Hey there guys, Red Mage 24 here. I just got finished watching Dalyxman's video. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. About, is it wrong to nitpick or criticize wrestling? Uh, I was talking with a friend of mine earlier tonight about wrestling, and I got myself to be, pretty worked up over some things that have been going on in TNA recently about the releases and so on and so forth. I was half tempted to actually do essentially a rant of all the things that I'm pissed off about in the wrestling world because I was just that worked up about it. Um, but fortunately I stopped myself and I watched Dalyxman's video, and it really got me thinking about things, and I just wanted to add my 2 cents to what he had already said. Uh, uh, you know, I, I believe that we do probably criticize way too much, and we're way too analytical as wrestling fans at times. I know I took like a year off from watching TNA because I was so upset. Actually, more than a year now. I think about it. I was so upset over the situation with Bobby Roode when he won the title. But you know, when I've recently started watching Impact again a few months ago, and it's one of those things I make a habit of doing. I have to, when I turn it on, I kind of check my inner smark at the door, and I just try to sit back and just watch it as a wrestling fan. Just as a show to try and to at least see if I can enjoy it that way. And so far, I've actually been enjoying Impact, but. Anyway, sorry, just a little backstory there. Yeah, I haven't been the happiest of wrestling fans, just to give you an idea. And it really reminds me of some stuff, or excuse me, what Dalyxman was saying really reminds me of some stuff that I read in the book The Death of WCW. It, towards the end of the Monday Night Wars, when Raw was starting to pull ahead, and it had pulled ahead, and WCW was starting to fall behind, they wrote about how there were the booking and the writing in WWF was just atrocious. And there were plot holes and stupid things and bad ideas galore, but it didn't matter. Their writing was just better than WCW's, and that's all that really mattered at the time. And another thing from the book, another little gem was, when wrestling is hot, bookers can seemingly do no wrong. When wrestling is cold, they can do no right. And I think that's a fair, I think it's a fair assessment. I think it definitely seems to reflect the times of how a lot of fans on the internet are very dissatisfied with wrestling in this day and age, because wrestling has kind of gone into a cold period, a recession. So they're not happy, so they tend to accent what is it, accents the negative, or I don't know, but they tend to focus on what's bad because they're unhappy instead of what's good. Sting has said in a few interviews that he doesn't even like listening, going on the internet and listening to what people have to say, because he feels that all they ever do is just rip it up. That's all. It seems all they know how to do. I found myself kind of angry at times like that, but it's like I feel that criticism needs to be constructive. If you really don't like it, don't watch. I don't watch WWE anymore because they've pissed me off, and made me mad and let me down, and so on and so forth so many times. I try to keep up with it through my friends, but I don't watch. Uh, but I do believe that sometimes people do need to take their inner smart mark fan, check it at the door, and just be a kid again, and watch it. If you see problems and you want to point them out to people and say, I wish they hadn't done that. Say, it's like, I wish they would have done this. If our opinion, if our voices are loud enough, wrestling, fans, wrestling promoters will hear, and they will make the changes accordingly. That they're in business, and when we give our money, we have that right to voice our opinions. But we need to keep our our criticisms constructive and our outlooks just a little bit up. I'm not saying blind optimism. I'm not saying hopeless pessimism. But everything needs to kind of be in balance. You gotta have both. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you, Dalyxman, for inadvertently stopping me from doing something really stupid, and making me think. So, anyways, this is Red Mage 24 signing out. Peace.